Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Felix here with your word on the street. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you were tested? And I'm not talking about at school or for a promotion. I'm talking about a true bare knuckles, get down on your knees, crying out to the Lord kind of test. You know, in today's verse, the Apostle James was writing to first century Jewish Christians in order to expose hypocritical practices of their faith and to teach them the right way to respond when their faith was both being tested and when it was lacking. You know, it should be noted also that back in the early church, as it still is today, it's vital for followers of Christ to walk in a manner and to put the truth into action. And he emphasized that living out our faith makes a difference, and that faith must be more than just a statement. It should result in an action. And he said in James chapter 1, verse 5, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him." Experiences, whether they were negative or positive, should lead to a gain in wisdom. And this wisdom ultimately should assist one in learning from those experiences and then being able to teach others. This was the premise for James. And actually, that's the premise for Scripture. The life application of the teachings. Any person can gain knowledge, but what good is that knowledge if we don't gain wisdom to learn and apply it to our lives? I often equate this application to making wise decisions in tough circumstances. One way that I use wisdom is by having a plan, and having a plan before the actual circumstances arise, especially things that tend to happen over and over again. Whenever we need wisdom, we could pray to God, and we know that God will supply all that we need. A great means to having practical discernment starts with having reverence also, which is having respect for God. And by having reverence for God, it should lead us to living right and allows us to have an increased ability in doing right versus wrong. We know God doesn't want his kids to fail. He's willing to give us wisdom, but we need to ensure that our goals are God-centered and not self-centered. In order to know God's will, we need to be in his word and show him that we're willing to obey him. And once we're able to seek and understand his will, then we must do his will. There's a lot that can go wrong from seeking, understanding, and doing, and that's the process of applying wisdom in our lives. Will we fail? Yes. Will we be successful? Yes. So let me quote, as some of you may know, the great Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Highway from Heartbreak Ridge. You adapt, you overcome, and you improvise. God's will ultimately be done no matter what. So you might as well embrace it, learn from it, and apply it. James chapter 1, verse 5, testing your faith, and that's your word on the street.